That one makes no sense.
Right. Unknown. Question 5, and as a reminder, this is the final question. To the best of your memory, what is or was the color of your mother's eyes?
Okay, what's happening?
Unknown. So that's unknown, unknown, Delaware, unknown, unknown.
What the hell did you do to me?
You wake up at work. The last thing you remember is stepping into an elevator. You blink and suddenly you're sitting at your desk. You have no idea how you got here, no memory of last night, no clue who you are outside of these walls. And worse, you felt this exact confusion before, every single day. Welcome to Severance, a psychological sci-fi thriller that takes the concept of work-life balance to terrifying extremes. In the world of Severance, employees at Lumon Industries voluntarily undergo a procedure that splits their consciousness in two. One self that exists solely at work, and another that only lives outside of it. Two separate minds, two separate lives. The catch? Neither version of you remembers the other. For the Audi, it's a dream come true. No work stress, no long hours weighing on your mind. You step into the elevator, and before you know it, you're leaving again, like no time has passed. But for the innie, it's a nightmare. For them, life is nothing but work, a never-ending loop of waking up, working, and blacking out, only to wake up again, right back where they started. Imagine being trapped inside a corporate prison where time has no meaning. Imagine never seeing the sky, never knowing rest, never escaping the same four walls. For the innies, there is no home, no weekends, no memories of childhood, love, or even their own names. They are permanent workers, born and bred inside Lumon's fluorescent lit halls, and they are starting to realize it. At first glance, Severance presents itself as a dystopian corporate satire, an exaggerated take on the modern workplace. But the horror of the show runs far deeper. Because this isn't just about separating work from life, it's about separating identity from autonomy. A person's sense of self is built from their experiences, their memories, and the choices they make. But in the world of Severance, the innies are robbed of all of that. They don't get to choose who they are. They don't get to leave. They don't even know why they're here. And worst of all, their Audi, their real self, doesn't even care. If your work self was suffering, if they begged you to free them, would you listen or would you ignore them? Because to you, they don't really exist. Beyond the psychological horror, Severance explores something even more terrifying: control. In Lumon, surveillance is absolute. Employees are monitored at all times, with strict rules that keep them obedient. They aren't allowed to question their purpose. They aren't allowed to ask about the outside world. And if they step out of line, they are sent to the break room, a nightmarish form of corporate punishment where they are forced to repeat scripted apologies until they believe them. This isn't just about an evil corporation, this is about us. How much of our autonomy do we give up for the sake of stability? How much of our time do we willingly hand over to companies that see us as nothing more than numbers on a spreadsheet? And if a company could legally and ethically own a part of your consciousness, would they? But what happens when the system begins to crack? What happens when the workers start to wake up? Mark S. and his colleagues begin to question everything. What is Lumon hiding? Why are they really here? And what is the true purpose of Severance? And most importantly, can they escape? The deeper they dig, the more horrifying the truth becomes. Because Severance isn't just a job policy, it's something much, much darker. In the end, Severance isn't just a show about work, it's a show about identity, about control, about the terrifying possibility that we are already living in a world where our lives are divided. After all, how many of us already feel like we're living two separate lives? The question is, are we already severed? At its core, Severance is more than just a sci-fi mystery or a corporate thriller. It's a mirror one that reflects the reality of our own world, our own workplaces, and even our own choices. Because in many ways, we are already severed. How often do we compartmentalize ourselves, shutting off emotions to get through the workday? How many of us live one life at work and another outside of it, putting on a mask, suppressing our true selves just to survive the grind? And when we clock out, do we really leave work behind, or do we carry it home in the form of stress, exhaustion, and an ever-growing sense of emptiness? Because Severance shows us what happens when people become disconnected from their own suffering. The outies don't care about their innies, just like how those in power often don't care about those beneath them. And if we're not careful, if we let systems like these grow unchecked, the world of Severance might not be so far off. So maybe the real lesson here is this: pay attention. Because Severance shows us what happens when people become disconnected from their own suffering. The outies don't care about their innies, just like how those in power often don't care about those beneath them. And if we're not careful, if we let systems like these grow unchecked, the world of Severance might not be so far off. So maybe the real lesson here is this: pay attention. Pay attention to the way we let work consume us. Pay attention to the people around us who are struggling, unseen, and unheard. Pay attention to the systems that strip away our humanity in the name of productivity, because the scariest part of Severance isn't the dystopian workplace. It's the fact that deep down it doesn't feel like fiction at all. Pay attention to the way we let work consume us. Pay attention to the people around us who are struggling, unseen, and unheard. Pay attention to the systems that strip away our humanity in the name of productivity. Because the scariest part of Severance isn't the dystopian workplace. It's the fact that deep down, it doesn't feel like fiction at all.